start talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
Now, Thanksgiving is only a few days away, and while it's often a time of joy, celebration, and togetherness, it can also be a period of emotional struggle for many. Joining us this morning to help us navigate through these feelings during these, the holiday is the one and only Dr. Al DeJuan Tart. We are so happy to have you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir, man. First off, some may not have heard the term holiday blues before. Is that the same as depression?
Well, it's just a time where people, holidays are not always a good time for people, right? So blues and depression kind of go hand in hand. A lot of people experience holiday blues due to primarily three reasons, like grief, loneliness, and then let's just be honest, Ricky, a lot of people don't have good relationships with their family or spouse. So more time during the holidays often is associated with more conflict.
That's some good stuff. And, I never really thought about it that way, Dr. Tart. What would you say are some practical ways to manage stress during the holidays?
All right, one, the holidays, if anyone is dealing with grief, all right, you have to get in front of grief. A lot of times we make the mistake, it's called effective forecasting. Like a forecast is something that's in the future, like the weather. We think we're going to feel better than we really feel. A lot of people are surprised with how sad they feel with grief during the holidays, because you can't predict what it's like to see Christmas trees, other people posting on social media, and all you're thinking about is the people that you lost. So one solution is to create new traditions. So instead of avoiding holidays, create new rituals to honor the person who you miss and the loved one's memory, and talking to other family about how to do that. Because it's kind of disrespectful for everyone else just to go on with their day as if mama's not here, as if your son or daughter's not here, as if your uncle's not here, or even yourself, as if your health is not in the same place. Everyone sees you and can tell your health is off, but no one mentions it. So let's get in front of it and create new traditions so that we can cope and heal.
I think that
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that sometimes counting your blessings and trying to put the positive things. Like I recently had a son, so instead of
congratulations, that's right.
Thank you. Instead of kind of missing both of my grandmothers so much because they brought the family together. So instead of missing them so much, I try to just think of positive things that I can do with my son and my family and my wife and my my mom's here. But it still kind of don't take away the sadness, but it helps.
Well, it shouldn't. So think about it. Think about how unrealistic it is for us to be happy when we're missing someone we dearly love. That's us thinking that we're supposed to get over grief versus simply experience it. And so what I want to give you and everyone listening permission to do, you can be happy and be in grief at the same time. You can celebrate the birth of your son and family and friends and the blessings that you have, and at the same time say, hey, I just want to stop and say, hey, I'm missing grandma. I'm missing my aunt right now, and let's have a moment of silence. Let's talk about what she meant to the family. That's appropriate because both things are going on, and when we deny that, that's how we sink deeper into blues and depression, not acknowledging that someone we love is missed, even though we're celebrating other blessings.
Dr. Todd, I was having a conversation with my friend Corey. That's Rich Homie Quan's dad. We talk every week, and just helping him walk through everything that as a matter of fact, I gave him your number. Helping him walk through that. One of the things that has helped me a lot is realizing that my grandmother had a grandmother also, but we only saw our grandmother and we think everything started with her. And I'm like, all this time that we was enjoying grandmother, she was grieving herself because she was missing her mother and grandmother. And that's one of the things that I look at is okay, like you just said, it's okay to grieve, but Brett, you have to become your grandmother. Like our grandmothers became their grandmothers because it got passed on. It didn't just start with them. And sometimes I lock in that perspective, like what kind of tradition can I leave for my kids and my grandkids, as I grieve myself. Now I can come out here and cook some good food and create a wonderful atmosphere and go back to my bedroom and go get in that closet and cry it out for about 5 or 10 minutes and get it out my system and come back, because I believe that's what our grandparents did. What are your thoughts on that, just giving it some perspective and operating out of that, Dr. Tart?
Well, we are what we see, right? So if we want to change our minds, we have to change what we see. And if all we see is grief, all we see is what we've lost, all right, our brains are going to be sadder than what they should be. Grief is already hard enough. So what we should do is exactly what you said, Ricky, create traditions, honor the person who you've lost by taking on a characteristic and making sure that legacy lives on throughout the family. That's a way of healthy coping. I mean, that is an excellent solution because that way it allows you to be honor them and at the same time create what's called an option B life. Option A life is that person in our life. Option B is like, okay, this person can't be in my life. I have to accept that, but I can keep their legacy going by doing something that they would like volunteering to feed the homeless, or us praying, or us having family game night, or us thinking about our best memories, and then being able to follow the tradition that maybe grandma had or aunt had, and it's us hosting Thanksgiving. Even though it might be our comfort zone, calling family together and say, hey, this is what she wants. Let's do it to honor her and celebrate together.
That's awesome.
So, Dr. Ricky was talking about food. So what we do is, my family, we try to think about the food my mama was cooking on Thanksgiving morning when my daddy died, because he died on Thanksgiving morning. She was cooking, and we were trying to remember, what
Y'all
the food
sat right in that room and had dinner like that didn't happen.
Yeah,
I still can't get over that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we had to have dinner, and my mom was cooking a good Thanksgiving meal. We try to remember, was it the mustard greens she was cooking? Because he would normally sample.
So your dad died, and then your mom, she was already cooking before he died. I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they funeral home can't get her. Y'all, go ahead, man.
But anyway, Dr. Tar, so that's
I just wouldn't have been able to have dinner that day.
Boy, please, it was Thanksgiving.
That would have been tough.
Well, we forget that the first phase of grief is denial and shock, right? You're so much in shock. You're just trying to realize, did this happen? What should we do? How do we move forward? It takes sometimes people months. How many people do we know that's plan a funeral, go on, don't grieve, go back to work the next day because they're trying not to deal with it? So that's actually more common than what we think, because the first response, with grief and loss is usually shock and denial.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Your daddy died that morning. You sitting up here talking about some damn mustard greens. Dr. Todd, thank you so much. And if anybody need any help, let everybody know how you can be reached.
I want you to go to Dr. Tart. I wrote an article, this morning about how to deal with holiday blues, whether you're dealing with grief, whether you're dealing with loneliness, or you're dealing with conflict with a spouse or family. Go to drtart.com. That's drtart.com, so that you know what to do. Or follow me on Instagram at drtartt. And I'll probably be doing a grief class during the holidays.
Man, we appreciate you. I just feel so bad. If something happened to me or whatever, you probably ain't gonna give a damn. Gonna go on about your day. Probably gonna go to the mall and go shopping. Something happened to me, huh, Gary?
In honor of you.
See what I'm talking about, Dr. Todd? See what I'm talking about?
Y'all joking. Gary be sick.
Gonna go straight. So they're gonna take my body from the house. He gonna go straight to the mall like ain't nothing happened, and then probably gonna post my job up, huh? That what you gonna do, Gary?
Yes, and when I spit it, this is the last check Ricky gave me. Let me buy me a nice blouse.
Hey, yeah, that'd be bad for all of us, Ricky. We need to keep you alive, brother.